freshman, sophomore year, I literally had no idea that I loved photography. But it was the course that I took sophomore year that I was like, that I started to realize, man, this is something that I love to do. And it wasn't until senior year that I finally made that leap. I finally made that leap and said, this is the thing that makes me the happiest. So that's the goal. That's the goal in life. The goal in life should be to make yourself as happy as possible. And if that means taking risks and trying to make what you love to do work in this society, do it.
Every day there's one class I look forward to going to, and that's art class. And so why we aren't allowed to have more of that, I really don't understand, and I think that's something that we really need to push for and fix. Because if you have kids that love to create and use their imagination, which is every single kid, why are we stopping them from using it?
When I'm writing and when I'm editing, you know, you get so attached to a story and you want to make it so good, and you want to edit it over and over again and read it and listen to your jokes and listen to some of the dialogue and picture it. It's a vision, and to have it come to life and to actually film it and to actually have a product that you can look at is something that is very special.
Students hate it when I say, that's no right answer. Don't ask me, should I? Just do it. Make your own decision, make a choice for yourself. And that's very hard for high school students to do, because they are the whole testing is so ingrained in their lives that who are going to be the inventors? Who's going to do the inventing? It has to be people who use their imagination and their creativity.
And I think that there is still way too much emphasis on standardized testing. And I'll go a step further and say that the more and more that corporations get into public education, the more and more expensive public education is going to get, and the further and further we're going to move away from creative learning and into standardized learning, because all of those tests are designed for a corporate kind of world where in order for you to get your raise you need to reach this level, and those things are easily measured with multiple guess tests, but not so easily measured when you're talking about somebody's ability to sculpt or paint, or how do you put a value on this songwriter versus that songwriter, or this poet versus that poet. And we're moving in a direction to make everything more model after a corporate model, and it takes away the human factor.
You know, if we want society to progress, we progress through outside the box thinking. If we want connections to deepen, relationships to deepen, that's not connected to grammar rules or cultural literacy. It's connected to being able to see things three-dimensionally, north, south, east, west, and be able to approach things from different angles. And that's why creativity is so important.
It completely surrounds us. Everything you have, the computer you're watching this on, you know, the phone you're watching this on, it was all designed by an artist. Artists everywhere, from the films, the TV shows, the commercials, to the clothes, to the furniture. Everything has to do with art. It has form, it takes shape. It was done by someone with a creative mind. And for some reason, it seems like in schools, we just kind of push that aside and say, you know, art is a hobby. Art is a fun thing to do. Art can brighten up a classroom if you put art up in there. It can make a hallway look nice. You know, there are famous artists, but ultimately it's not a career.
That art doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen in just an art studio, but that it's an integral part of really every issue and every solution that we're trying to come to terms with right now.
To solve problems requires creativity. Science is what I teach, and so creativity is hugely important in science, because scientists are not fact collectors. Scientists are designers of experiments. In order to design an experiment, You have to have creativity to be able to envision something that does not exist, and you're literally creating it. And scientists often use the word elegant in experimental design, and I think that works nicely. I think people laugh a little bit at first maybe when they hear the word elegant to describe science, but that may be because they think of science as just a collection of facts, which isn't very elegant. But scientific experiments are very elegant when you look at how they were put together and you think about the thought process that creatively came up with the idea of how do you answer that question. It's not easy at all to do, and it takes a lot of brain power, and it's not at all about facts.
Creativity is so much more about new situations and being able to solve problems that, you know, we don't even know we're going to have. And that's such a big deal in science and math, is because there will be scientific discoveries that won't happen while we're in high school, that we're going to have to use the basis of knowledge that we learned in chemistry or physics or whatever it may be. But we have to use that knowledge to solve new problems that aren't going to be in a textbook that we read in, you know, junior year.
Because courses are being cut that allow creativity. So theater classes are being cut because not enough students sign up for them. And why is that? Because there are all kinds of other courses that are offered that have that academic bent. So that's great. It's awesome that you're taking all these academic courses, but you also need to take the artistic courses, the music, the art, the theater, that will help you to be a more well-rounded person. Otherwise, you know, you're going to get out there and you're not going to be able to communicate.
When you tell kids to create something on their own, to put their own spin on something, to put their own creativity, to use their creative minds to actually make something for themselves, it takes on a whole nother level of education and personal commitment.
In my classes, I love it when a student says, "Can I start over? Can I do it again? I'm just not happy. I want an option, you know, the chance to better it, to better myself, to learn a little bit more." That's fabulous, you know. So I jump on that. I don't think there are really any mistakes in art. Everything you do is the opportunity to learn and grow. And I think the idea that you have to get it right the first time and that's it. I think that's really kind of dangerous. Yeah.
We're trying to cultivate a atmosphere where risk-taking is encouraged, where exploration is encouraged, where there's multiple solutions to problems, where there's really concrete solutions to problems, which can be seen in art education in the visual way, that there's always a product at the end that is evidence of how that path has been followed.
I think that there needs to be a stronger mandatory arts requirement, and art could be theater, art could be music, art could be drawing, art could be ceramics, art could be, and I think we also need to kind of break out of the traditional subjects, having film class, or having a course where you design comic strips, or I think we really need to think towards what's going on in the world and think about there's so many ways to be creative, and we're not even tapping into those.
So much of what America does is not individualized. It's so systematic. It's so broad. It's trying to catch so many people under the same umbrella. And the fact is, everyone's different. And we can't look at educating different minds the same way. And it's hard. It's so much harder. It is harder to try and actually, you know, look at each student, trying to figure out, you know, what's best for them.
We care so much about these numbers instead of we don't care about what we love to do anymore. And in my eyes, that's just sad.
They're all getting them prepared for these standardized tests,
Yeah.
which do not promote creativity. And it's garbage. The direction we're heading in is a mistake.